Thought I'd talk about a really interesting philosophical concept called the Matthew principle, the Matthew effect. You may have heard this summarized quite simply as the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, but it doesn't just apply to money. And it's a really interesting concept, and I think you're going to find it fascinating. If you haven't come across it before, it can be quite revolutionary. It can really change your mind, your perspective on things, right? But it doesn't just apply to money, it can apply to anything. Those that have, more shall be given, accumulated advantage. Let me give you a practical example of how this plays out for me very often in the social media world, right? So I'll create something, a group or whatever, and it'll be about a certain subject, and I'll be posting about it already, and the social media is getting traction. But then I'll create this group, and then within that group, people will then post things related to the movement, to the cause, whatever, in that group, and then I can then use that post on my social media. That gets more attention, more people see it, more people join the page, more people join the group, then more people send in more stuff to post. It's really quite amazing, and it's very, very powerful when you utilize this to your advantage. Of course, the opposite is basically the downward spiral. Everybody's heard about that, right? Things go wrong, something else goes wrong, and because you're in a shit mood, you fucking hit your head, and everything else goes wrong after that point. It's just down, down, down. But the opposite is true. There is such a thing as an upward spiral, and how much is that fucking not spoken about? That's quite an amazing concept, the upward spiral. So I think this is something that could be very useful for people just to think about, know about. Those that have, more shall be given. And I think the easiest way for people to get their foot in the door here is if they start to spiritually evolve. Now, everything I think in your life can be improved if you start to spiritually evolve. But then if you apply this principle again, those that are spiritually evolved will become even more spiritually evolved. But it's like, how do you break that cycle, right? So if you are somebody who doesn't have, how do you start to have? Well, you can start to accumulate spiritual gravity, spiritual weight. You can start to learn your lessons and become a better being, have a higher vibe, and that can tip the scales in your favor, and you can start moving in the right direction, and then you unlock greater parts of this reality, you unlock other opportunities, and your life can start to spiral in a more positive direction. So this is where spiritual evolution is just the most important thing I think anybody can do, regardless of what stage of life you're at. But it just helps you in so many ways, and anybody could start, or anybody can make progress in their spiritual evolution today for free. There's unlimited information out there, so I guess it's more of a case of finding good information, and I have loads of great information on my website, and then I reference people that I think are really amazing and have really helped me on my journey. So if you want to start to have more, spiritually evolve. And how do you spiritually evolve? You just get started. You make the choice, make the decision, and get started on your evolutionary journey.